you doing today there? Doggo, long time no hear from. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kindness puts you in the poorhouse. Then you're not being kind to yourself, my friend. That's what's happening. That's not good. Just 1 second. I'm finishing up just two things here. Honestly, I should have gotten done earlier. One second. Oh, why can't I spell the where? Oh, there we go. Like, I couldn't spell the word where. Like W-H-E-R-E. Like, what the hell? One more message to the group. And we say, oh, Haitians, everyone alive. Okay. Yeah. Oh, hold on. See, this is how unprepared. See how unprofessional I am? Okay. Get that going and get this, and then that's it. Then I'm really ready. Okay. Was that your body is broken, poor as fuck, but I'll survive? Oh no. That's not good, doggo. Where are you at these days? What part of the world are you in? Part of the world are you surviving? Or barely surviving, or I don't know what you want to call it, existing in? I'll survive. Oop. I hit. Oh, wrong button. See? Look at me. I'm all over the place today. I'm just crazy like that. So yeah, Doggo, where are you at? What part of the world are you in? What's going on, man? I'll tell you. I got peripheral neuropathy now. Oh, I can't recommend it. Still in Thailand. Peripheral neuropathy. What's peripheral? Does that mean neuropathy on the outside, like your skin? Tam has that. She still has neuropathy since she had cancer, since she had the chemo. She still gets it every now and then. And what makes it worse is that I think she's like also going through menopause. So it's like weird, she says, having neuropathy and menopause at the same time, because she'll have places of her body that will just like feel cold all of a sudden while she's having a hot flash. So she says it's very weird. So that sucks, man. You know, if it's worse than what Tam has, which it probably is, because hers is only episodic, it just comes and goes. Neuropathy will just come out of nowhere and hit her and then just go. I don't know if it's the same thing with you or not, but yeah. And as for me, I had like a... hold on a second before I go into my selfishness. It affects the capillaries, hands and feet go numb, and affects my balance. Oh, so it's your hands and your feet. Yeah, for Tam, it's just mostly she complains about her feet. Doesn't really say much about her hands or anything like that. Oh, yours is all the time? That sucks, Wolf. I mean, Wolf. Sorry, it sucks, Doggo. That is that counts as not being good. You know? And I'm sorry that do that, man. Because I know there's nothing they can really do for it. I mean, I don't know. Is there really like medication that helps or anything like that? But as far as they tell Tam, there's nothing they can really do for it. So it's affecting your balance. Yeah, I can understand that. Would physical therapy help you at all, or anything like that, with like learning to readjust your balance when it goes off? Climbing Everest is out because I know that's what they do for some people that have balance issues. Is that you go to physical therapy and you learn. Basically, I think it's like you're learning to catch yourself before you fall. That's what it seems to be. Like you learn to recognize when you're about to go off balance and how to like center yourself quickly so that you don't fall or something like that. I don't know if they have that in Thailand. I don't even know if they have it around. I know they have it around here, but I discovered drinking a beer helps. Seriously, like, yeah, I wonder why that is, though. See, that's the thing, is if you could figure out why it's helping you, you might be able. Not that beer is a bad thing to have, but it might be something that it's in the beer that's helping you that you could take without the effects of the beer. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something about the way that raises your sugar, or uh, yeah, I know, just one, obviously, and beer's great, but sometimes you don't always have access to a beer. Like you might be traveling somewhere and just don't have access to a beer. So if there was something you could carry with you, if you could figure out, what the beer is doing that affects you, is it the sugar spiking, in your system? Is it the yeast? Is it figure out what it is, the combination of a few things. Maybe you can distill that into, like, say, something you can carry around with you that you could use. Does that make sense? I don't know why my eyes are itchy right now for some reason. I don't know, man. I don't have all the answers. It removes the fear of falling a bit. Yeah, sure. It releases some inhibitions, and maybe that's part of the problem. They say, here's the thing. It reminds me of kind of like a lesson in life that I always thought that was really interesting. I learned it from, of all the horrible people in the world, a cop. No, this cop was a nice guy. I hate cops, but this guy was a nice guy. And he explained to me that how when cops pull people over, their number one biggest fear, like especially off of the freeway, their number one biggest fear isn't whether or not that guy's going to be armed, the person's going to be armed in the car that they've pulled over, or whether or not, yeah, you're absolutely right, whether or not they're going to get attacked, or anything like that, right? That's not the fear. The fear is that someone who is driving on the freeway, who is either under the influence, tired, or just kind of like in a dazed, kind of just driving ahead state of mind, that they will lock on to the cop's lights and plow right into the cop. And therefore, whoever they pulled over, that car, boom, right? That's their biggest fear. Right? Is because what will happen with people's minds is that the thing that you don't want to hit will be the thing that you focus on. And it's weird. It's true. And I've even seen it like when I'm playing driving games. I'm playing driving games and there's a car I know that's coming up and I don't want to hit it, but because I'm focusing on that car, I hit the car. So I've seen it in video games, so I know it's got to be true in real life. Right? And I think that's the thing, is that a lot of times in life we get so focused on what we can't do, and we get so focused on the things that are limiting us, that we just accept it and we just go along with it. You know what I mean? And we just say, well, I can't do this, so therefore we make it true. That makes sense. It's like we hit the target that we're trying to avoid. I think we do that a lot in life. But you're right, all cops are bastards. That's actually not to get political, because this isn't political, but that was one of those things that when Tam and I first met, we were completely on the other side of the fence with, and eventually I convinced her. Because she and I came out of two different worlds. I came out of a world, we both came out of poverty. We're both poor growing up, but I think that she might have been a little, I don't want to say isolated, but but what have you, she kind of like saw the police as the same way upper middle class people do, and I had to explain to her all the reasons why that was wrong. So eventually she came around. R word, but my religious faith is helping my Buddhism focus on the now. I don't consider Buddhism a religion. I don't consider that a religion at all. I know it's been changed into a religion, but I mean, even the Buddha himself was against it being a religion. So, I consider myself philosophically a Buddhist. I am a refugee. I've taken, solace. And I try to live philosophically as much as possible, as a Buddhist. Yeah, I know they do in Thailand. I know. And it is what it is. But for me, it's a philosophy. Because, see, for me, a religion is the politics of mythology, right? That's what religion to me is. So I'm not going into like what I think about religion or what have you. Again, this is not a religious discussion I'm bringing up. Just going over my own little thing here. To me, I see religion as the politics of mythology. It's the rules and the ways in which you live in order to obtain salvation, right? And you have all these like, put your hair this way, put your hair that way. To me, Buddhism is essentially like, the rules of Buddhism is be mindful and don't be a dick. For the most part. So to me, that's like, they're not the same. The religion of Buddhism isn't the same as, like, let's say, the Western religion or, the Middle Eastern religions and what have you. To me, they're not really the same. Although, there are sects that try to make it like that. But anywho, I'm glad it's helping you. Focusing on the now is important. Absolutely. In fact, I'll tell you flat out that, so I don't know if you knew this. I don't know. I know you haven't been around for a while, Doggo, but I had surgery like, I want to say 8 or 9 weeks ago. I lost count. I think about 2 months ago, something like that. And I had knee replacement surgery. I had my left knee replaced. And ooh, that was drama. But I went through a hard depression for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks, hard depression. I think it was due to the anesthesia. And just, I think it's really due to the anesthesia. I think I didn't get enough anesthesia. But that's another story. But I was like 2-3 weeks going through a hard depression. Sad, crying sometimes. And it wasn't until I stopped and I realized, look, I know what I need to do. I know how to center myself in my reality. I know how to ground myself. And that's what I felt was the problem. So I started up my meditations again, and I started being mindful of my situation, of my feelings and transcending suffering, that's the kind of thing that helped me out. And it was right after I started doing that, I started feeling better. I started, kind kind of pushing my way through it, and things started picking up for me. So, I definitely understand the importance, and it's my core, the importance of being mindful, the importance of being centered and being grounded in reality. And to me, that's what Buddhism gave. Transcending suffering, Doggo says, I want something I cannot achieve. Being 25 again, basically, that's causing me suffering, the want, not the illness. The best example I ever heard of, and this is when I first started getting into Buddhism, was through actually an American Buddhist who had become a monk, basically, and he was living at a nearby temple, and he had been doing it for like 15 years, and he was he was like this one white guy with a bunch of Asian people. Brain farting the country. Anyway, but it was nice because I could talk to him. I was interested, so I would go and I learned like meditation through him. And I learned like a lot of the precepts. He would translate some of the other monks for me, which was nice. And he gave me what I think is probably the funniest interpretation of the Four Noble Truths, and probably the most true. He says, life sucks. Life sucks because you want things. Life can stop sucking if you stop wanting things. And then don't be a dick. It's basically his interpretation of the Four Noble Truths. I just thought that was hilarious. I always, whenever people ask me what about Buddhism and the Four Noble Truths, that's the first thing I give them, especially if they're white, because they hone in on it right away, and then I can go into like detail and explain, the rest of what's happening. But yeah, that's how I handle it. But yeah, it's a funny story. Don't be a dick. Why am I only connected to two places? Hold on a second. What is going on? Oh, I lost something on YouTube, maybe? One second. There it is. Weird. YouTube went blank on me. Oh, now my camera's all fuzzy. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Doggo says, I got everything I need, man. I don't need a fancier box to hide in. Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you. I am very with you on that sentiment. I'm not someone that, one of the things I know about myself is I am not someone who needs a fancy box to live in. I don't need anything fancy. Like the fanciest thing I have is my live streaming setup here. That's the fanciest thing I got. I got two tablets, one here, off to the side here, so I can keep watching like the stream over here. And over here, I can control, like I can hit buttons and control things. I have a light up there. I have my laptop with my desk and all the wiring. That's it. That's the fanciest thing I got. I don't need, and you know what? I would be happy with this setup if I would lived in a shack somewhere. I don't need a fancy house. Don't need a fancy car. Don't need fancy clothes. I don't need any of those things. I am, by definition, a simple man. Like Tam tells people, I'm the easiest person that she's ever lived with because not only do we get along great, we have a lot of things in common, but I'm easygoing as fuck. Like, what do you want? I don't care. Whatever. Like, what do you want to eat? Man, I don't know. What do we got? What movie you got to see? I don't know. What's out? I don't care. What do you want to watch? Let's see. What is there? I'm easy. Want to go out? Sure. You want to stay home? Sure. I am like water. Whatever you put me in, I take a bottom shape. You know. Yeah. Which is fine. Fine. I've only just started getting more mobile in the last week or two. I'm using a cane now. Going up and down stairs finally. You know, so I'm hanging in there. Doggo says the girlfriend doesn't need much either, but she has a daughter with a gambling addiction that's dragging us down. Oh. Ooh, buddy. Oh, that hits home. Like you don't even so when I was older, like around 17, 18, I think that's about right. Yeah, when I was about 16, 17, my mom remarried. I wasn't living with my mother at that time, and I didn't really like the guy all that much. And, they stayed together till he died, like I think about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, or something like that. I don't know when he died. And he had a gambling addiction. And she went as far as mortgaging her mother's house without her mother knowing about it somehow. Tricked her into signing papers, things like that. So that she could pay off her husband's debt. That caused like a big strife in the family. Like I didn't talk to my mother because of that for several years. I was just floored. I was just upset about it. But it shows you not only how bad a person's gambling addiction can be, but it shows you like even the people who support them, who have the best intentions, can lose everything. That's the thing is dealing with gamblers. It's like getting sucked into a money pit. It's like, cause you could try to bail them out and you can help them with their addiction and you could try to keep them safe. But it's like the money that they would have lost or that they lost, becomes your money that you lose. She's her husband's problem, not this broke foreigner. Good. That sucks, though. I mean, gambling addiction is one of those. Gambling addiction is one of those weird ones because, okay, so the difference between a gambling addiction and let's say alcoholism, right, is that an alcoholic cannot buy beer. They can simply not buy alcohol, try as hard as they can, and then they'll suffer and it'll be hard for them. It won't be easy, but they cannot buy alcohol. But as someone who has an addiction to gambling, they can make a bet with you at any time. It's simply words. I will bet you, and it gets worse with, let's put a bet on this or put a bet on that or let's go gamble. It's like an addiction you always have with you. I don't know. It's weird. I just seen how it can affect people and affect families. But I come from a family of a lot of with a lot of addiction problems. Like me, I was lucky. I don't have, and I was actually tested for this because the addiction rate of my family. Right? I don't have an addictive personality, right? I am not prone to addiction. Like, I give an example as for my surgery. I was taking Norcos every 4 hours, opiates. I was taking Norcos every 4 hours, sometimes 3 hours, I'll be honest with you. But I was taking it every 4 hours for basically 3 weeks straight because of the amount of pain I was in from my surgery. And, when I decided to stop, I just stopped. And I'm lucky like that, right? I'm lucky like that. But there are other people who would have gone through the same thing and they would just suffer. You know, they would get addicted. Like I know my father had a problem with something similar, you know, and I'm very grateful for that because I've seen firsthand how addiction can change people. I've seen it from my family. Part of people in my family were alcoholics, meth addicts, drug addict, you know, prescription pill addicts, you know, different things, but they're all over my family. I'm lucky I escaped that. Like I'm even a heavy cannabis smoker. I can go days without smoking cannabis with no problem. I've done it like lots of times. Yeah, but I'm a heavy cannabis smoker. And you would look at me and go, well, the amount of cannabis he smokes, he's using it as a crutch that he couldn't stop smoking. Dude, I've stopped smoking for weeks at a time. I needed to. It's not an issue. I just don't have that problem with addiction. Not saying I could never become addicted to anything, because obviously there's shit that can come being addicted to that you can't control. But, you know, psychology shows us that if you're more susceptible to addiction, psychologically, you're going to fall into it even harder physically, right? So I'm just very happy about that, you know? I'm very lucky in that situation, but I've seen what it can do. Me happy. Me neither. I'm happy in my own mind, right, Doggo? Yes, but so many strains, so little time. Well, see, I've been smoking the same strain for a couple of years now because it does what I need to do. You know, good old Godfather OG. But it hits me the way that I need it to hit me, and it helps me the way I need it to help me. You know. So you know, it's not an issue. You know what I mean? But I've seen, and it's weird because I gotta be, so it's really honestly, if I didn't look so much like my parents, I would wonder if I was switched at birth or adopted. My mother had addiction problems. My father had addiction problems. My grandparents had addiction problems. Uncles had addiction problems. One uncle died from an addiction problem. It's not something I am, how do you say it? It's not something that I am blind to. There's literally 50 weed shops in my town now. They're all in competition. Price has gone down to 17 baht a gram. It's crazy. Holy crap. Yeah, there's a place that I go to that has really good prices, and I've been using them for like 5 years now. They're like the best prices in town and the excellent cannabis. And, but good. Weed should be cheap, man. If I could, I'd grow it at home. Kidding? Only where it's legal, boys and girls. Where I live, cannabis is legal. Okay? So, fuck off. Anyway. You don't know me. But yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. We can grow up to 5 plants. Yeah, and I can get a medical card and grow up to, I think, 15. But I mean, I live in a condo. There's not enough sun. I would have to do it hydroponically. I don't have the money to start that, or the space really. I mean, Tam got me last year a one of those. It's a hydroponic herbal garden, right? So you can grow mint and what have you, and it has like a grow light for it, and it's basically just a hydroponic garden setup where you can grow spices. I got no place to put it. Like I just like she bought me it, and I get the intention. I get because she knows that I used to like to grow things. I had a garden at one time, but like where would I put it? Like there's absolutely I like looked at her and I said, okay, and where are we gonna put that? Then she started thinking, oh, I don't know. Like you didn't think about that when you bought it? Because the thing is like this big. It's like that. It's like a cooler, like an ice chest cooler. I'm just like, what do you think I'm going to do with this? Where am I going to put this? She goes, I don't know. You can put it on the patio. What? If I wanted to grow something on the patio, I would just put something in a pot and grow it in the patio. Why would I need a hydroponics thing? And I just had to play it off. I go, you know what, honey? I'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out later. Never figured it out. It's still in the box somewhere. It's the weirdest gift she's ever gotten me. Like, I get the sentiment, but what do you think I'm going to do with this? Oh, yeah. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. It means nothing. And it means we're one more day away from the weekend. Just got to get through tomorrow. Then, and only then, we'll be free for 2 days. Well, for me, that means nothing. I mean, today is just the same as it was yesterday. So, I don't care. Bother me none. But gonna start cranking out YouTube videos for extra cash. Got some ideas? What are you gonna do? That'll be interesting. If you get any ideas that work, let me know. I'll try them. Shit. I could use the cash right now, man. I got a like $300 website bill coming up in 2 months. I think 2 or 3 months. I got to figure out how I'm going to get the money for that, and it's not going to be from my my big live streaming business. That's for sure. So if you come up with a way and it works, hey, shoot it my way, man. I could use the cash for sure. That would be nice. Everything except politics. I'll end up being the most hated guy on the internet for $500 a month. That all that pays? What? How can that be? Ooh, my shirt shipped. Let's see, it should be. Oh, it's your tracking. I got a GPS tracking number. What do you know? Let's see, when is it going to be here? Let's see. It says next Tuesday? All right. Well, that'll take forever, but at least I know it'll get here. Where it's shipping from? It doesn't say. It just says it's on the way. Oh, wait. Doesn't say where it came from. Oh, from Brooklyn. Okay. So it must be going by. I made a shirt for Mastodon. And it only really funny if you know about Mastodon. But Dougie says, yeah, very little left wing money going around. The money is all in right wing hate politics. Oof. Yeah, that sucks, man. I am. What you make me do, Doggo? You made me talk about religion. Now you make me talk about politics. So I am very much, as we're coming to the political season, I'm very mindful of the amount of politics that I let in. Because I just get burned out too fast. The older I get, I don't want to say that I don't care about politics, but there's only two ways to get involved as a citizen is politics. That's either through protest or through voting, right? So you can either protest something and go let the the politicians know how many people are against something so they can make decisions from there. Get it? If there's something you're passionate about it and someone's working against taking away your rights or something, the right to protest is an important thing, right? I get that. And the only other way is to vote. Now, I have learned, especially over the last 15 years, it seems, that I really only have to pay attention to what's happening in politics a month before I vote. Unless it's something that I'm very involved in, which, to be honest, there aren't a lot of things like that anymore. Not that I don't care, I'm just not involved. But the truth of the matter is, why do I want to pay attention to all the drama, to all the political theater for a couple of years until I can finally vote? As politics go up and down, up and down, up and down, people say different shit all the time. Look, I can get all that information the month before I need to vote. Simple as that. When all the chips are down and it's coming down to the wire and everybody's cards have been laid on the table, then I can look at it and decide who I want to bet on. To me, there's just no point going through all the frustration and the heartache and the people and just the way that politics will just exhaust you. I just don't see a reason if I don't want to play that game anymore. You know? Doggo says, if I made 10 videos a day about trans people or poisoning the water supply, sapping our will to fight and grooming kids, I'd make a fortune. Yeah, it's sad. You probably would. That would be evil. Yeah, it would. What does keffel mean? But yeah, that's the sad state of reality. Probably would. I'm thirsty all of a sudden. Hey, Doggo, give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab some water. about that. Zoom on my face. Here we go. I'm back with my water. Keffels is a famous trans political streamer. Okay. Cool. Got Kiwi Farm shut down. Raised a fortune for trans rights. Awesome. Had no idea. Excuse me. You know, what's funny is that I always found all of the arguments, like most arguments against things to me are arguments that your position is poor. And the example I always like to give of that is like when you get these right-wing political evangelicals who say that, you know, homosexuality is ruining the country or the world or that kind of thing. To me, it's always, you know, so what you're saying is that, you know, your lifestyle, the way your philosophy for living your life, you know, can't hold up to this. Like this will trump, like if they go, oh, it's going to turn my kids gay or something like this. Wait, so what you're saying is that your lifestyle isn't like convincing enough that it would keep your children? Yeah. No, not that that's even possible. Like, cause you know, you're born that way. You are that way. You aren't that way, that kind of thing. But it's just the argument is so fucking stupid to me. You know, it's just an argument. The same thing with people who are against trans. It's like, okay, so that your lifestyle isn't convincing enough for this person. This person is happier living their lifestyle, this lifestyle as their true selves. You know, don't blame them because your argument isn't persuasive to them. You just have a poor argument to make. Besides, leave fucking people alone. Mind your business. Honestly. There should be a president whose his only motto is mind your own fucking business. You know? Doggo says delusion, greed, and hate are the three poisons that destroy our minds. Christian evangelicals are full of that poison. Well, not to talk about religion, but you're not wrong. A lot of them are. You know, I'm not here. When I talk about this, I'm not talking about it from a perspective of their religion is right, their religion is wrong. I would never anymore tell someone that they are right or wrong about that. But what I'm talking about was when I refer to evangelicals, I'm talking about the in-group, the group think, the way that they perceive themselves or, you know, introduce themselves to the world. They address themselves in the world out there. So, yeah. I do not swing that direction in any way. You know, people need to just mind their own fucking business. If it, you know, it's like I was watching a video with someone and it was a dance video. And the person, my friend says, looking at the dance video with me, says, is that person trans? Like that. But I was so absorbed into watching the choreography and listening to the music, and I was just really into it. I almost got angry for. I did. I got a little angry for a moment, and all I said was, "Who cares?" And I just kept watching. Because that's how I am. It's like, I don't care if that person in this video is trans. I'm not looking for someone to identify. I understand if you're trans and you're looking for someone to identify with, you would go, oh, that person's trans. I identify with him. Okay, it's not my situation. I am more, I don't care if you're trans or not. So it's like I'm watching the video and this person says, oh, is that person trans? Who cares? Why is this a question for you? You're not trans. You're not looking for someone to identify. Why do you care if that person's trans? I just was enjoying the video. Shut the fuck up. Hello there, Wolfman. How you doing? Sorry about yesterday's live stream, man. It was horrible. When I went back and looked at it, it was horrible. I sent an email to Evie Mux and said, hey, this is bad. It's really bad. Then again, I was in a hilly area going in and out of places. If I was probably in one place, it might be different. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But how you doing, Wolf? Doggo is over on Twitch. Doggo Wolf has just joined us over on YouTube. Feel free to hang out wherever you want to be. We're also on PeerTube today, so as always, we got the trifecta, the PeerTube, the YouTube, and the Twitch. And no, I will not go on Kick. Jesus. I don't care how popular Kick gets. I don't know, man. I just can't get behind a place that's backed up by a gambling website. Just can't. I mean, it's like getting behind drug pushers to me. It's an ethical issue for me. I'm not gonna get on. I don't care if they want to offer to pay me, $15 an hour or whatever. They're the bullshit they're talking about that's out there. No, not into it. Wolf, yeah, that's right. Good. Had to cut it short. Buddy's mom passed. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, it's sad. It's always sad when someone dies, and especially, when your friend's mother dies, it's hard to console people sometimes. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to do. But I'm sure you were a good friend and lent as much support and care as you could. I know how you are, Wolf. Leanne, how you doing today? Thanks for popping back up today. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. And as always, if anybody wants to be a guest, and if you don't already have access to the link, hit me up. I'll send you the link to come on and be a guest if you want to talk and what have you. Wolf says he's okay. His dad died in April, so he's grieving both. Oh, his dad died in April. Now his mom died. How old were they? They pretty old. That's harsh. Oof. Lose both your parents in the same year. I mean, assuming he was close with his parents. Still, oof. That's a hard one. Leanne says she's trying to get my Mexican temp resident visa. Trying to figure out how to jump through the hoops as efficiently as possible. Are you trying to get a visa to be to temporarily live in Mexico? That's cool. What you doing there? Trying to get a temp residency from Mexico. You're just trying to live there are you working there, or are you just hanging out? I live in Southern California, so I've never been to Mexico, to be honest with you. I literally live like I could be in Mexico in 2 hours easily. and never been. Main reason is I never had the money to do anything if I did go, so there was no point in never going. But I I lived in an area that was predominantly Mexican, so I've been told by many Mexicans that there's really no need. Leon says, yep, migrating down to Mexico for retirement plan, still working, not yet collecting Social Security income. Wanted to get a house down there before the peso really gains on the dollar. Hey, if you can do it, go for it. Absolutely. Hold on, Wolf. 1 second. There you are. All right, what's up, Wolf? How you doing? Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Ooh, I'm on stage.
You're on stage.
It's time to hit the music. It's time to hit the lights. It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show today. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah, what's up, man? How's your friend taking the bad news?
Well, he told me straight up that he just lost his dad, and he didn't really grieve because he went right back to work. He's a supervisor in Illinois at some plant.
Yeah.
And he just went right back to work, and then.
Well, did he know his mother was sick?
Oh yeah, she's had stage 4 lung cancer. She's had she had to have 3 surgeries on her hip for a hip replacement because the first 2 didn't take, and she was actually starting to get better and could walk a little, not a lot, like just a few steps.
Yeah.
And she got septic.
Oh no!
And that's what got her, because they couldn't operate on her again because they just cut her open 3 times in the last year. So
that you'd be surprised how many people die from a septic infection.
I had a dude that was in my high school class that died from it 2 years ago. I found out.
That's one of those things that takes a lot more people than you think, and it's one of those things that's almost like it's hard for hospitals and doctors to treat.
Right.
It's because even if they catch it and they treat it, there are lingering side effects after that can cause problems.
Well, he said that she lived in a little town called Fortville, just outside of Indianapolis, northeast side of Indy. She had to stay with her daughter because her daughter lived like right across the street from the hospital, practically in Indianapolis, because they wanted her close for hospice care.
Right.
They took her last Sunday. They took her to her home and had a little barbecue and hung out for a little bit. She wanted to stay, but she couldn't. Right. So they took her back, and the next day she just took a turn for the worse. And you'll like this. I took a toke for her myself, but my buddy said that her last breath, he lit a joint up and blew it in her lungs. So her last breath was weed because she's a big old pothead. So.
Yeah, that's what I want. Just just hook me up. just put a bong right next to me, like a little tube or something that I can just let my last moments be in bliss.
Right. Well, she was not conscious when it happened, but
yeah. Well, the symbolism, I get it.
That was actually the one I went to. I went to his dad's funeral.
Oh, that's the funeral you went to, was his dad's. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
When I cut the shit out of my finger. Yeah, that was it.
Leanne says that's an excellent send-off. I agree.
Absolutely. I took a couple of tokes for her last night, and ironically, for some reason, I haven't thought of this woman. I mean, I'm not going to say ever, but I haven't thought about her in a minute. Probably since I was in Indiana, because I was going to stop and see her, but I didn't have time, or what I wish I would now. She was always kind of like another mom in a sense. She'd get on our ass for stuff, and we'd go over there and hang out. But me and my buddy determined that me and him together was not a good thing because we're bad influences on each other. It's like as soon as we would start hanging out, we both wouldn't have a job. We'd be messing around, not doing
getting in trouble.
Right. Nothing like I never got arrested. He did a couple of times, but I never did.
You just never got. No, it's not that you never got arrested. You just never got caught.
Exactly. You gotta be sneaky. However, he once I moved out here to Omaha. We was living in Indianapolis. He moved to Illinois, And it's funny because me and him are both talking here. I've got a really good job myself working for the VA doing the work from home bit. And like I said, he works in some nice factory down there where he's a nighttime supervisor. I'm like, see, had we been around each other, it wouldn't
It
have
would have
worked.
been bad.
Yeah. I would have gotten you fired. You would have gotten me fired. Or we would have been like, oh, I want to call in and just fuck around today.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't want to have to do the work today.
to be fair, we were kids. And when I moved out here, I was only
Right.
23. So,
Right. To be
No,
young and dumb.
2021. I was 21 when I moved out here.
That's a sweet age, young and dumb.
Yep. And full of
Piss and
Bubblegum.
vinegar. Yep. Hey, Johnny, what's up? Johnny's stepping into the chat. How you doing, Johnny?
Johnny. What's up, brother?
What do you don't drive and watch the video. You can listen, but don't watch us. We don't want you to jive, Johnny. Don't jive, Johnny.
Yeah, I had to yell at Tam yesterday, so I don't need to yell at you too.
I yell at her all the time too. She's gonna kill me one day.
Well, dude, it's like you're in the middle of an LA freeway. Put your goddamn phone down, Tam. On the ground.
Well, no.
Those Pokemon away.
Not for Tam. She had to do a raid because her friend was inviting her to a raid.
But her boyfriend was having her drive her somewhere. Which is more important?
The raid, obviously.
No, I mean, like, very rarely will I even answer my phone if somebody calls.
Oh, I know.
while driving.
I'm the same way. That's when I am driving, I do everything on my phone from like voice commands.
Well, I have an old POS,
Yeah.
so I don't have that fanciness to where I can plug my phone into my stereo or any of that. So and everybody in my family knows, don't call me when I'm driving because you're just going to get my voicemail.
Right.
If you text me, it will not be answered until I'm stopped. Now, at a red
That's
light,
good.
okay,
That's the way it should be.
I'll look at it at a red light. But yeah, otherwise, I put my phone in the console next to me, and that's where it stays. Now, when I'm renting a car and going someplace, I'll answer the phone because then I have it all plugged into the stereo to where I can just say, "Yep, answer."
Right. Johnny says, "Fun fact: Pokemon wait for no one." Just according to Tam, you're absolutely right, Johnny.
Right.
I'm driving. Johnny says he's driving 20 in a country club. Are you out golfing, Johnny? Is that what you're doing?
Why am I thinking Bill Murray in Caddyshack all of a sudden?
Okay, I'm gonna come up to a little bit of, you gotta coax him out.
No, Bill Murray was more like that. It's a Cinderella story. I can't remember the lines on that. It's been a minute since I've watched Caddyshack.
Leanne says, I also don't answer the phone when I'm driving. No one I know is important enough to have something so crucial that I have to take that call immediately.
Absolutely. Now, there have been times where I have called Cammie. Hey, I'm on my way home. But I'm like on side streets before I get into busy streets. And when I get into busy roads, I was like, all right, I'm getting into the street. I'll talk at you later. And she's cool about it. Because she knows I just cannot. And when I see somebody texting and I drive by them, I honk at them.
Put your damn phone down, bitch.
And then when they look at me, I make like a stupid face. I'm like, and then like act like I'm texting a phone. Being like, yes, that's you.
Yeah, I for the most part.
My phone because I'm super important. People like me. No, actually, they don't.
Well, you see, what I've done is I have the Apple Watch, right? And so I get my alerts from my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I have it on silent, so I get these tactile alerts on my phone, on my watch. So if Tam messages me, my watch will vibrate a very specific way.
Cammie has that too. She has an iPhone and a watch.
what I'll do is if I'm driving down and I feel like I know that Tam has messaged me, I'll tell Siri to read Tam's last message to me. And then Siri will read the message to me, and then I'll reply back through Siri.
That's different, though. You're using hands-free. You're not sitting there typing onto your phone.
Yeah, right. Well, that's because I won't do it.
And trying to balance your steering wheel between your knees. I used to do that quite a bit in the 90s, but they didn't have cell phones, if you know what I mean.
I told Tam
Let's just
But
say, let's
if
just say,
she,
old Pinto glove box lids make great trays, and that's all I'm gonna say.
I told Tam that if she ever gets in an accident because she was playing Pokemon Go, that I don't care how mangled she is, I'm going to laugh at her
Mm-hmm.
just so hard. I told her flat out, I'm going to laugh at you and call you a dumb fuck.
Yep.
And she goes, it'll never happen. Okay, you better hope it doesn't, because I will laugh at you and call
Lincoln
you a
thought he
dumb
was just gonna
fuck.
go see a show. I mean,
Yeah.
Kennedy thought he was just gonna be driving to Dallas. You don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Oh, you
That's
never
why.
know. We never know what shit will come out.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I was a professional driver for like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I just paid more attention to stuff, and this is where I picked up the habits of the phone. Just
Yeah.
don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Now, I would text a little bit when I was driving because I could put my phone right on the steering wheel, and it was one of those not a flip phone, but it flipped up and had a keyboard. So it
Yeah.
wasn't as bad, and plus it's in the middle of the night. The worst thing I'm going to hit is a deer.
Yeah.
However, I did not do that very often, and there was usually only one or two reasons why, and I'm sure you can guess one of them. And the other one is probably not that hard to guess either, being a young-blooded American male. However, when I stopped being a professional driver, I kept some of those habits just because it's safe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like I've seen people on motorcycles texting.
Yeah. That's insane.
I'm like, really, dude? Not only, don't get me wrong, I used to ride. I love it. I love the whole culture. If I was more evil, I probably would have joined an MC. Not that all MCs are bad, but I would have gone all out to one of the bad ones.
Right.
But, okay, I never realized this until I was talking to some of my biker buddies, and you can appreciate and probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But have you ever seen the funny car drag racing?
Sure. Yeah.
Where they sit there and then they stomp the gas and go through the gears, and their tires are big and fat, but then they turn to big ovals.
Right.
You know why that is?
Right.
It's a centrifugal. Well, it's a centrifugal force that is causing the circular motion. And we've all been on that ride where you stand up in it and it picks you up and it spins you around and you're pushed up against it.
It's the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same process. And so a guy was telling me about this, and I'm riding and I'm watching. Okay, your average motorcycle tire, at least the front, is about 3 to 4 inches wide.
Sure.
Unless you have a custom deal.
Yeah.
Now, when you're riding, you're not on 3 or 4 inches. You're lucky.
No, you're only on an inch, maybe.
If that.
Yeah.
And there's times that people are like, yeah, I was cruising and I just started gliding. It was great. You're not gliding. You know what
flying.
to do. You're basically flying, and your tire has only got like 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah, I know all about this, man. I got to remember.
I know you do. And I was like, I saw that, and I'm just like, whoa, yeah, we're not going to be, yeah. And I mean, okay, so you have that to where you're only on that much, but like when you're riding, you have nothing to protect you from hitting anything.
No, you do. The only thing you have to protect yourself is your wits. It's how much you're paying attention to to what's going on around you.
Absolutely. But if you do the unthinkable and dump it.
Yeah. Oh, and I've dumped my bike before.
So have I.
And when I dump my bike, it was to prevent a bigger accident.
Exactly. I was trying to go up a hill, and it was stalling out, and I actually just jumped off of it and rolled, and I busted up my elbow a little bit.
No, for me, it was I was going about 65 down the freeway, and all of a sudden, all of the traffic, like we're talking 4 lanes of highways, came screeching to a halt. I never found out what was happening ahead, but like it was like 30 cars ahead of me, and each lane just came screeching to a halt. I had a passenger on my back, on the back of my bike, because this was like a pretty good sized muscle bike.
Hold on to your butt.
I put on the brakes and I hit an oil slick that was on the freeway. So my back tire just starts sliding like this. So now I'm going like pretty much perpendicular to the car in front of me, and I'm about to slide into the car that's in front of me. So I just told the person behind me, keep your feet on the pegs and hold on to me.
Yeah.
And I just laid the bike down, and we just kind of like skidded down the road. And luckily, neither one of us were hurt that badly. Got a little road rash, but nothing too big. But yeah,
that's where I was going when I said I drove professionally. I kind of got sidetracked.
Yeah,
I drive a 98 F-150 extended cab, not the 4-door. It's got a suicide door is what they're called.
Yeah.
I'm driving down West Dodge Street. Now, every town has a road like Dodge Street here in Omaha.
Sure.
In Indianapolis, it was Washington Street. It's basically one of your main thoroughfares. You can get from one side of the city to another. You're going to have a lot of traffic lights, but you can do it. I'm sure LA has something similar. Even I've heard of Melrose.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably.
I'm sure Irvine does.
Probably.
So I'm driving. Well, the shitty thing, and this is when I was working at that soap factory, I had to go back to work because I left my phone, and it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I get back in the truck, go back, grab my phone, come back. And as I'm coming home on this road, now this road is notorious for having traffic on it at rush hour. However, I was getting off at like 3 o'clock, and this was not quite 4 because I had to go back. All of a sudden, a trash truck just pulls off to the side of the road, and everybody starts locking them up. There was this lady in front of me. She was driving like I don't know if it was a Hyundai or like a Chevy Equinox. It was one of those smaller SUVs. Looks like a little bug almost. Had I been playing Pokemon, I'm not going to say I wouldn't be talking to you because I don't think it would have been that bad, but I probably would have gotten messed up. As it was, I saw what was going on, hit my brakes, and I'm like, yeah, we're not slowing down in time.
Yeah.
So what I had to do, hang on.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, it said decrease the quality of your video because of my bandwidth. I'm like, whatever, you're stupid. So I swerved to the right, and I'll have to send you a picture of this sometime because I still have it. I barely missed it.
Wow.
I basically sideswiped the front part of my fender into the back end of her car.
Oof.
It cost me, let's see, that was $150. Light was another $80, so we'll say $240, $230. I did not get the fender yet, but a new fender would have been $75. So we'll just say it would have cost me $300 before labor just to get the parts to fix my car. You know what it costs to fix hers?
What?
$4,000. I'm like, yeah, that's why I prefer older vehicles. One, I can afford them. Two, I mean, if I'd have been in a 78 F-150, there had been nothing left of what she had. Because that had metal in it, and all these new cars are plastic. And they're not meant to last very long because they want you to buy another one.
Right.
Like a refrigerator, or a washer and dryer.
Yeah.
Or a television.
Any appliance.
A cell phone.
Yeah.
A gaming console. Oh.
No, not that.
Oh, yes, that. Or wait a minute. Yes. That. I don't know how that sounded over the...
that sounded weird, but we'll go with it.
Awesome. I had to sit, and this was actually... I'm not making light of this. I didn't have to sit. I volunteered because Juana got me off the phone, but I was in the diversity council meeting yesterday for my company.
Uh-huh.
And yesterday's subject was people with handicaps and that might have physical ailments and words that people use that are not acceptable, like that one that everybody knows, that R word.
Yeah.
And even some people don't even like the term handicap. Now,
Right.
that being said, I'm not trying
Differently abled.
I'm not trying to say anything bad because technically I'm handicapped as well with my back.
Sure.
I've got a spinal fusion was done in 97.
Right.
I've just been able to work my whole life.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
so we had an hour of this training and it was actually very informative. And there were some people that talked about themselves because they have epilepsy.
Right.
And some of them can work and some of them can't. And I'm like, all right. And that's what we've been dealing with her son here, I told you about. They finally found out what was going on. He is epileptic.
Oh, no.
Now, it's all fine and good, but, you know, I won't get into it. I'll tell you later, but I won't get into it on here because I'm...
Yeah. Personal stuff.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was a pretty interesting class, and I think it's great that more companies are doing that because there's times, you know, you and I grew up in a different time.
Yeah.
Archie Bunker and George Jefferson both used the N-bomb on television.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was going to say to you earlier, you know, I was thinking that, you know what the equivalent of texting and driving was when we were kids, right?
Drinking and driving?
No. Oh. I'm sure you've experienced this. I think if you're of our age, you've probably experienced having either one of your parents when you were a little kid and you're in the car with one of your parents, or maybe your grandparents, and you're trying to drive somewhere they'd never been before, and they got that big ass folded map.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they have it and it's sitting on top of the steering wheel and they're trying to drive while they're looking at this big ass map as they're going down this road that they've never been down before. And
I actually still have an Atlas just in case all shit goes to hell.
I remember a time where, I had a driving job, and if it wasn't for what the fuck was that book called?
Rand McNally.
Randy McNally. Yeah, the McNally book.
Not Random, Rand McNally.
Rand McNally, yeah, right. And I had one of those in my car, and that was my Bible,
right,
for getting around town, man.
Like I said, I still have one. I know exactly where it's at right now.
You got to go to G26,
right?
3E.
Bingo.
You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Thomas Guides, right, Leanne? Thomas Guides, those two.
And you are a few years older than I am, so you were driving before. I mean, I was driving too, but I never really did this, and you've told me you've done this. Think about being a delivery guy, like taking somebody that's a delivery person now and putting them back when you delivered.
Oh, yeah, they'd be so lost.
Right. You didn't have...
People don't have map skills.
Right. You didn't have GPS. I mean, I think the first TomTom or Garmin came out in like the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So I was already out of high school at that point.
Right. No,
but yeah, it's like anymore. It's like, well, I did want to mention this anyway. I'm going to be going up to the post office on Saturday, and I'm going to be sending you a box of stuff.
You're not going armed, are you?
No, you can't. That's illegal.
I want you shooting up a post office.
No, that's illegal.
It's illegal to shoot up a post office? Get out of here.
No. It's illegal to go into a post office with a firearm on your person.
Oh, I'm sure.
Regardless of what you use it, if you use it or not, because it's a government building. Almost every permit that you and I have, for those watching at home, I am fully licensed, registered, and I carry insurance for my firearms. Do I carry my firearms everywhere? No, I found a can of pepper spray works really good.
Yeah.
But
can of pepper spray and a quick, swift kick in the balls.
There you go. The places no permit is valid unless it's a work permit, like you're a officer or you're law enforcement or something like that, is schools, and any government building, including local.
That makes sense.
And that's like, well, and then like, okay, like you're local. We've had this conversation before. You have what, 1.8 million people in your county?
Something like that.
I have that in my state.
Yeah.
So and Iowa's probably not that much more either.
Right.
The little town that I lived in Iowa, their post office was basically where you went and got your PO box. The only mail carry
Right.
delivery was outside of town, and that building was super tiny.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm sure plenty of people have probably walked in armed in that building, even though it is technically illegal.
Right.
Because it is just a small little, I mean, it's like a 10 by 10 or something, if that.
Right. Leanne says it's like kids today who may not know how to read an analog clock, or kids on TikTok rediscovering cursive.
That's awesome. I just read that when you started reading it.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. I've experienced that. Kids that don't know how to use analogs.
Or the kids on TikTok that thought they invented an ice cream float. You know, if you mix McDonald's ice cream and their soda, yeah.
Yeah. Genius.
And if you put a little bit of Malibu in that, it's a good time for everybody.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was bad when I was younger. This is when I was working with that friend I was talking about earlier.
Right. Well, I told you, speaking of small towns, I don't know how much of the conversation you heard with me and Tam about small towns yesterday.
I did. I was right there commenting.
Yeah. The Tam is one of the things that I find interesting about Tam is that she seems to get too much, almost I would say too much of her cultural awareness from stereotypes. And I think it has a lot to do with the influence of media on her as a child when she was growing up and trying to understand the world around her, because you have to remember that, it was just her and her 3 other siblings being raised by a mother who couldn't speak the language.
Right.
And who didn't like going out and what have you. So a lot of her like cultural understanding or societal understanding comes from stereotypes.
Well, and
so I have to go ahead.
We're all like that unless we go out and educate ourselves,
right,
and learn about different cultures. Because I mean, it's like I said earlier, Archie Bunker and George Jefferson.
Right.
That's two stereotypes that are nothing. Yeah, I mean,
that's one of the things I try. Well, what I'm saying is that one of the things I try to do with her is I try to help her see past stereotypes.
Right.
Because that was a lesson I learned early on in my life, and it was mostly because of having been, the only white kid on, for 5-6 blocks of Mexicans, and growing up around there, I would see, how they were treated versus how I was treated. And then I would hear my parents or my grandparents and my family, that would say they're racist shit, and with their stereotypes. And I learned early on, that's not true. Why that's not true. Why are you saying that? That's not true. Why are you saying that? So I learned early on as a kid not to accept stereotypes. Like if I heard a stereotype about something, that to me was almost an alarm that that's not the way it is.
Right. Well, myself, my father was a translator for Mexican migrant workers in the early 80s. So I was exposed to that pretty early. I just didn't like it when they were talking Spanish around me because I didn't know what they were saying. But I was a kid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got along great. One of my best friends growing up until he joined the Army, because I guess they quit. They took that job away or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my best friends was a Mexican kid, and he started teaching me words. Of course, they were the wrong words. But
as always.
But yeah,
but with working with, Tam, it's just, that's one of the things is I have to, like the conversation yesterday, she was talking about a report that she had, not a report, a podcast that she had listened to where they were reporting, this woman was talking about a book that she had written about small towns. And basically, I pushed against it, right? With what she was saying.
Right.
And it's because if you only pay attention to the stereotypes, you miss the subtleties of what's really going on.
Right.
And to me, that's much more interesting. That's much more important than the stereotype.
Well, and one of the stereotypes is that they all live in one little house together.
Yeah.
Well, know why they do that is because they have more family-oriented structure to where grandma and grandpa do live with them and their cousins live with them.
Right.
And I found that out as well when I was young, and I thought that was kind of cool. Of course, I wouldn't have liked to live with my dad's parents.
Right.
My mom's parents, maybe. My stepdad's parents,
Yeah.
Stepmom's parents, Oh, actually, I did live with them for a little while, so.
With Tam, I get where she's coming from. I get why she has that perspective. But like what I try to do is I'll sit with her and I'll start comparing and contrasting. So like, for instance, with her, when she was talking about small towns, and her perception of small towns is that they are unwelcoming, and I had to explain to her whereas that may be true in some small towns, it's not true in all towns. That what it really has to do is it has to do with the culture or the history that town has come from. If that town has seen a lot of like stranger danger, or if that town has seen a lot of uprising from either politics or from religion, or who knows what else, if they've seen a lot of hate, then they are going to be a town that is very cautious of strangers, very cautious of new people coming in, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there are other towns where they're more welcoming because they haven't had that history, where they accept strangers in, where they're more welcoming because it's like, oh, you're a new person, let me get to know you better, because you're new, you're a novelty, and so you're accepted. And it just depends. I've been to both kind of towns in my life. I've been to small towns where you didn't feel accepted, and I've been to small towns where you automatically felt accepted. And it had nothing to do with the size of the town. I had to explain to her.
It has the DNA for the Jane poll, though.
Yeah. It has to do with the history of the town. And if you are only looking at the stereotype and you're not taking into account as to why that stereotype is there and what subtleties are being missed from the stereotype, you're going to have, the wrong perspective. And that's what I tried to do with her, was I just tried to correct, just give her more information so she can have a better understanding and correct the perspective.
Well, and another way to put it is small towns are very similar to big towns. Because, like Omaha.
Yeah.
It's not a big town, but it's a city.
Sure.
And for the most part, in most areas, people are pretty friendly here.
Yeah.
But if you go to New York,
yeah,
it's like, hey, do you know where? Hey, go fuck yourself, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure.
See, that's a stereotype.
Yeah, but I'm sure not everybody is like that, though.
That's what I just said. Yeah, that's a stereotype.
Again, it depends on what part of the city you're coming from, the history of it, stuff like that. Leanne says over in the chat, multi-generational living needs to be destigmatized. Absolutely. But folks who choose to live on their own shouldn't suddenly be dumped on. Don't swing the pendulum, widen the definition of normal. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yep. Yeah. I just avoid normal. And
I prefer the Abby version.
The Abby version?
Yeah, Abby Normal.
Oh, yeah. Like Darth Vader's sister, Ella.
No, don't you know that's from Young Dr. Frankenstein?
Stein?
Yeah, when he asked Igor where he got the brain, he says, I got it from someone named Abby. He's like, Abby who? And he goes, Normal. He's like, you got the brain from Abby Normal. He goes, yes.
I have to watch that again. It's been a minute.
That's a great movie. Yeah, young Frankenstein. Yeah, young Frankenstein.
Season's coming around, so I'm gonna start watching some more movies and stuff to get ideas.
Yeah.
Because ironically, as much as I am into the whole spooky season thing,
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
I haven't really been into horror movies for like the last, like, I want to say 15 years.
Yeah, because it's all just shock value.
It's all jump scares.
Yeah, shock value and jump
Yeah.
scares, and let's see how much we can gross you out. Where
Yeah.
when I was growing up, a horror movie, yes, it had all that, but it also had something else called suspense.
Yeah. Right. Even,
Alfred Hitchcock. I mean,
yeah. Even Freddy Krueger had a lore.
right. I mean, they've kind of changed the Saw series a little bit for the better, I think, with the whole John Kramer thing.
Right.
So now he has a lore. But before, it was just like these movies are just stupid.
Yeah.
Now they make sense because they gave a backstory.
Leanne says, for years, that's how we pre-screened my brother's girlfriends. Had they seen Young Frankenstein? If so, did they find it funny? Could they quote some scenes? That's a good litmus test.
It's not bad. I would probably be bad on the scenes. I would only, it's pronounced Igor.
It's not Ego, it's Igor.
I haven't seen that movie in a
Yeah,
hot
me
minute.
either.
I'm so far behind on stuff that I watch just because I don't watch shit. It's like, oh, new season of Harley Quinn. I'm like, oh, cool. And I start getting on it. I don't know if you've seen Harley Quinn or not.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
So I get on there previously on Harley Quinn, and then I see Bane humping a building. I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
I love Harley Quinn.
So, well, it turned out that at one point I fell asleep or stopped it and never went back to it. So I had only watched like 5 or 6 episodes of the last season.
Right.
So I just now caught up, and that was the Valentine's Day episode, which I'm just like,
that was great.
it was funny, but it was way too long.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a double episode. It was 45 minutes.
I have 5 more episodes to watch of Rebels before we start watching Ahsoka. So I'm hoping we'll get like knockout half tonight, half tomorrow night, and then we can start watching it all over the weekend.
Yeah, it's only 2 episodes. It's only like an hour and a half or so.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, it's good though. I mean,
That's what I hear. That's why I'm excited to watch it.
No spoilers, but I enjoyed it. The only thing I would have changed is maybe the pacing, because it seemed like there was a lot of shots where one character or another is just standing there.
Look, the only thing I want to know is Chopper in it.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. I love Chopper now.
And he sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the same sound. That thing is a little homicidal maniac.
I've watched Rebels so much that I actually understand Chopper for the most part. Without giving away anything, there is a scene where he is interacting with another character.
You know exactly what he's saying.
They say, I didn't touch it. He goes, yes, I did. But it was like, and I'm like, I just looked at it. I'm like, you little shit.
He said.
And then his next, I can't remember what he said next, but I understood that one too. And I was grinning ear to ear when I seen Chop.
Right.
And he's got his little, he looks exactly like he does in the cartoon.
Oh, excuse me.
With the little flailing arms popping out and his little, the way he,
his arms are hilarious.
And he does something with them too. I can't remember. Maybe like shows his muscles or whatever.
Right.
Hera, the actress who plays her, does a good job, but I don't think it really looks like her.
No. Well, I mean, you can't get exact,
I don't think it looks nothing like her, really.
I mean, the cartoons, they're not exactly human-esque, you know what I mean? They're
right. Clancy Brown, you know who he is, right?
Yeah.
He is in the original series as the mayor or whatever of Lothal.
Right.
He plays that character.
That's
I
funny.
thought that was cool. Sabine looks just like herself, except with longer hair.
Right.
The only other one that they've showed, yeah, that's it. They show the hologram of Ezra, but you can't really see what he looks like. But
Right.
just think Disney's Aladdin with a scar.
I just want to know if Thawne looks like a Smurf.
He hasn't been shown yet.
Okay.
They're building up to that. They have you get to learn about who that one guy is with the lightsaber and his apprentice. You can learn a little bit about them, but not too much yet.
Don't give too much away. I'm going to catch it this weekend.
No, I'm just saying you'll learn a little bit about him.
Good.
Yeah. All in all, I thought it was pretty cool.
I will catch up.
They do have a loft cat on screen.
I heard about it. I've been seeing it on TikTok.
Yeah, believe it or not. All purring and I'm like, oh, it's a kitty.
Oh my God, there is this. I don't know. I caught it on TikTok. A couple of I guess at the beginning of the week, and there's been this video that I have just been obsessed with for like the last couple of days, last week. It's a dance video by a group called Jungle, and the song is called Back in 74. Not only is it a pretty good song, it's got like a good dance song, but the choreography in this video is just so tight, and it's all done in one shot that it's like one of those things where when you see a dance video that is so good, it almost like enhances the sound and the music of that's coming, as well. It puts you into like the heart and soul of the feeling of the groove, right? And I've just been obsessed with this video and watched it so many times because it is just so slick and just so good that it's kind of thing that makes you regret that you had never been a dancer yourself. It makes you regret that you can't express yourself that way. And if you ever get a chance, catch it on YouTube. It's called Back in 74 by Jungle. And it's really good. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing or not, or anybody that's watching is into that kind of thing or not. I like the arts. I've always been an appreciative of, drama and dance and things like that. So for me, it just really hit me.
Huh. I haven't been on TikTok in a minute.
No. These days it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. You're not missing. You're not missing anything. It's pretty much the same. Oh, not too bad. Oh, I think I lost Woof. Looks like I did. That's okay. He'll probably Woof. If you want to, you can come back. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be streaming, but feel free if you get a chance. I hope that was just Woof and not me. Well, it says I'm still broadcasting. And I still have connection, so. Oh, there's Woof. And I saw the top of your head, Woof.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you lost it.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
You were saying how appreciative you are of me and how much that you like me. That's what you were saying. Go ahead, tell me more.
Right. Oh, it was TikTok.
TikTok, that's right.
Yeah. Whenever that was that I posted that little motorcycle video.
Oh yeah. How many views did you get on it? 247?
350 the last time I looked.
50, okay.
That's been a minute.
Right.
Mainly it's just other people sending me videos that I'll go on, and some of them I'll look at, some of them I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
Because as I was saying, I used to be really into it about this time last year. and I had it all going and this and that, and I just lost interest because it's like, what's the point? Okay, and I'm not bragging, but I got my million video. I've got about a million view video.
What?
And what are, yeah,
Wow.
I've gotten a couple of them actually.
Over 1 million. That's crazy.
Yeah,
You can't get paid for that.
Well, go on there sometime and look at it. It's the baseball ones, remember?
Oh, yeah. Those finally like hit 1 million, huh? They kept going?
Oh, no, it hit 1 million like a while ago.
Oh, wow.
And I still get notifications that somebody's put one of those in their favorites or likes it or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool.
But what has that done for me?
Nothing.
It hasn't forwarded my career as far as acting or writing.
Right.
It hasn't forwarded my career as far as what I do for a living. It hasn't given me any money whatsoever.
Yep. That's right.
And it didn't even really bump my viewers. I didn't start getting that until I did that little trick that I showed you.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Or you go into those certain chats where that's all they're doing, and then you get your 1,000 within a couple of days.
Right. That's crazy.
And then you leave them.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I haven't been in there since. I mean, I've been in there a couple of times, but like I said, I haven't been on TikTok. So it's like, if anything, I'll watch Reddit.
I don't go on Reddit anymore.
I do.
I stopped like when they all started going to shit and started fucking with their admins. That's when I left.
Basically, I watch funny videos, Star Wars, and gun techniques and cleaning tips and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I don't really get on it myself, but when I go to look for that kind of stuff, that's usually where I go.
Yeah.
Because TikTok, to me, it's just...
No, I've got too many issues with Reddit. I mean, no shade. You know, you want to go there. No shade at all to anybody that does. That's their decision. Mine is just, I just don't like the people who run the place, and I don't want to support that.
I get that, and that's fine. I mean, it's just like Facebook.
Yeah, same reason I don't get on Facebook either, yeah.
If it wasn't for the television show, I would not be on Facebook probably, because I really don't have much use for it.
Yeah.
It's like I sit there and scroll on it, and okay, yes, okay, your kids are going back to school. Yeah, we know that happens every year. Okay, yeah, this is what you're having for dinner. Yes. Oh, there you are complaining about everything, but not doing anything to fix it. Okay.
Yeah, I got a friend that keeps inviting me to their Facebook group. I keep telling them to fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, now the one cool thing about Facebook, I will say, is it does have the opportunity to have like a face-to-face conversation, so to speak, over video. But you can do that on other apps as well.
100 apps that do that, yeah.
Yeah, but like there's some people that, my friend, that's how I got a hold of him yesterday.
Right.
It was just easier.
Yeah, I get it.
But, I mean, really, if it wasn't for the show, I think I probably would have gotten rid of it a while ago. And it gets political, too. And I mean, I know we don't talk that stuff here.
I get it. It's Facebook.
Like, okay, I like this guy because he's on this team, and if you don't like him, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That
very divisive.
Fake doctors on there or scientists.
Yeah.
Well, I watched a YouTube video. Well, I could put up a YouTube video saying whatever the hell I wanted.
Yep.
It doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah. Doggo was in here. You remember Doggo? Doggo was in here at the beginning of the stream, and he was talking about how that he could probably make $500 extra a month if he made like anti, whatever hate videos. He'd probably make like $500 a month on YouTube, if not more. The sad thing is, he's probably right. That's sad. He goes, I wouldn't do it because that would make me evil, but he goes, it's sad how easy it would be to do it. And I go, yeah, it is sad.
What, anti-hate or hate videos?
Oh, hate videos, like
Okay,
anti-trans or anti-gay
okay, you
or
said anti-hate. I'm
oh,
like,
did
why
I?
is
No,
that
no,
bad?
not anti-hate, but I mean anti-end hate videos.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Leanne says, I stay off Facebook too. The reason I live half a continent away from some relatives, I don't need to connect with them on Facebook. That's kind of the same for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I like the Dr. Evil quote. The details of my life are inconsequential.
yeah, for me it was just I was just sick of. Well, for me is like I have I think a different way that I look at social media, and because I don't just look at it as the social, talking to people and what have you, but I kind of look at like every social media platform as like its own planet. And when you go to that planet, you are adding to its mass. And whenever you add to the mass of something, you make it heavier and you make it easier to attract more mass to it. The same is true in planets. The same is true for social media. If you go to some social media, you are adding mass to it, and you are making it more attractive to other people. So when people say, I don't like this, but I use it anyway. And for me, if it's for any reason other than you don't have a choice because of family and friends, and it's the only way that you can really connect with them, which is problematic to begin with, or you're making your living because it's the only platform that you can find this community in which you can make your living.
Or you work on a TV show with a doctor that loves Facebook.
Well, it's the same thing. It's that, to me, that's almost like in the same category as make your living, because you may not be making a living, but it's a craft that you are trading and that you are using, and this is where the only place you're allowed because of the constraints of the guy that runs it, right? So I don't blame you for that. And for other people that maybe it's their work or maybe they have to for the similar reasons that you are, I get that.
Or to promote themselves.
Right. But even then promote themselves. If there are other platforms that you can promote yourselves from, you should do it. Like I said, the only for me, and this is my hang up, this is my shade, the only don't worry, Leanne, I'll get that. The only reason I accept people who are on platforms that they are vocally against and they know are wrong is for those reasons. To me, that's the only reason, because you have to,
Right.
But if it's a choice, if it's just because you like it, it's just because you like the people there and you like the conversations that you have and stuff like that, and yet you're still aware of how bad it is, go fuck yourself. It's like you're adding to the problem. What are you doing? It's like, and that's what I meant by your presence adds mass, and it allows,
right, but okay, we've talked about podcasting.
Yeah.
So we would have a Facebook page, but
No,
then we would also have.
You might have a Facebook page. I wouldn't.
Then we would also have your Federation of Planets or whatever.
The Fediverse, sure. And there's also like YouTube, there's Spotify, there's a bunch of places that you could have podcasts coming from that are way more popular than Facebook.
No. I'm not saying to put it on there.
Oh.
I'm saying just to promote it,
oh, no, I wouldn't.
Direct people to a certain website.
Like you might, if you wanted to have a Facebook page and that was your thing to help promote, if we had a podcast and you had a Facebook page to help promote it, that would be on you. I would have nothing to do with that.
No, I'm not saying you would, but what I'm saying is if somebody's doing something like that, they have YouTube, they have Twitter, they have Snapchat, they have Facebook, they have
other
Instagram,
places.
They have Reddit, they have your Fediverse, they have, what's that one that we go on that's the elephant?
Oh, that's Mastodon. Yeah, that's part of the Fediverse.
Mastodon.
Yeah.
Okay, you have that one. You promote it as many places as you can, especially if it's all free.
Yeah.
Because that part doesn't hurt. But I guess maybe this is how I justify me having one. when you start getting involved in the day-to-day bullshit and drama that people throw out on this, then I think you're part of the problem as well.
Yeah, that's part of the problem too. Yeah.
And trying to troll and argue people, but you get that on any platform.
Yeah. Well, I avoid that thing. Like I had someone who, like, I had made on Mastodon a post about how I had noticed that Tam, and it became really popular for like a day. It's still going on right now, but it was a post about how I've watched Tam work remotely. You know, now she's down to 2 days a week.
Right.
And one of the things I've noticed is, like, Tam is really one of the top people in her field. She knows what she's doing. She could drop the places she's working at, and there would be like 10 other places that would want to hire her tomorrow. Right?
Absolutely.
And yet at the same time, I have seen her spend 30 minutes trying to convince her male counterparts, her male, coworkers, that she's right about something. And I'm telling you, she is like right 99.9% of the time. Yet fuck if they won't waste her time, because she has to like overly explain shit that should be easily understood in 5 minutes. But no, they question her insensitively, just continuously, to make sure that she's right.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that. And that's what I posted about. And some guy comes and makes some post where he's shitting on me for recognizing it, or for saying something about it. And I could have easily just like came back at him and said, fuck you. What is your issue? Like that. But
and don't forget his horse.
Yeah. Fuck you and the horse you came in on. But I've realized, through time and age and what have you, that it was just pointless. I don't have to, he's looking for a fight. It's obvious. I'm not the one looking for the fight. So, and my ego isn't so wrapped up in whether I'm right or wrong, that I need to fight him, about it.
I hope that they don't listen to this call.
I hope they do. Fuck him.
I never know when somebody's going to listen to it, whatever call, because it's kind of random. But I call them third world providers, and that's mean. They're third party providers that call in to try to get an authorization.
Yeah.
They're not with the hospital. They're not with the insurance company. They're somebody else. And it sounds like there's like 50 of them in a 12 by 12 room, all talking over one another. And they all have the same accent where it's hard to understand them.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, the lady had asked me something. I don't remember what it was. And I started answering her. She goes, yeah. I said, whoa, you don't talk to me that way. Today is not the day, and I am not the one. And as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh, fuck. I can get in a lot of trouble for that. I mean, I didn't cuss her out, but I'll be like, hey, this lady, I had talked to her twice already, and she's very impatient and is not very easy to work with.
Right.
And part of it is the language barrier, and I do not fault her for that at all.
Sure.
But the other part is their attitudes that all these people, that seems to be the same group of people, have.
Right.
Like, for example, I need an authorization for this person. I look it up. I say, well, we don't have a record of that date. Okay. Well, do you have the authorization?
How can we have an authorization? We don't have a record for that date.
Well, in that space, it's like, without a record of that date, I can't authorize something that's not there. And if I get in trouble for that, I'll be like, hey.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best here. You got these people that and the worst part about it is we've already sent the authorization 99% of the time to the provider who called us.
Right.
So there we go.
Yeah. I feel you, man. It can be hard sometimes when people don't make it easier,
No, but do I go on a rant about it? Not really.
No. I mean, it's not like it's not like the other person on the other end of the phone is to blame, really.
No.
Yeah.
They're just doing what they've got to do, but at the same time, the only problem I have is their attitude.
Yeah.
You don't come at
And
me like that.
again, it's easy to interpret attitudes when you don't understand like the cultural background.
And
You
that's
know,
true as well.
yeah, that's something, another thing I learned, because having, I've known a lot of people of that are not from the U.S. and that have lived here for a while, and you think something is strange, but once you understand like the cultural background, you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like I had a lot of Vietnamese friends, a lot of Mexican friends growing up, and sometimes I'd walk into people's houses and it would just be like, whoa, being a kid, being a teenager, and be like, whoa, what is going on here? And
Yeah.
hearing it sounds like their parents are mad. I go, why is your dad yelling at you? Well, my dad's not yelling at me. What are you talking about? What?
Yeah, because they're talking really fast and
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
understand.
right.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, you take it as being, you take it from your own cultural perspective, but that doesn't necessarily fit. So I find that usually just like a little patience and just a little, just understanding kind of
Absolutely,
helps.
but at the
Yeah,
same
it can be
time,
hard.
I'm not the only person that says these things about this particular
Yeah.
company or whatever they are.
Yeah.
There's a
And it can
lot of
also
us
be the
that
cultural, it can also be the inner office culture as well. Can be
true.
bad. Like if you're like, I have worked in, oh God, I hate saying this. I've worked in call centers in my youth. And I can tell you there were some decent call centers that I worked for. And there were some really shitty call centers that I worked for. And it all had to do with the office culture. Absolutely had to do with the office culture.
Ours is really good. I mean, as good as it can be when we all work from our own homes.
Yeah, which is great.
But ours is really good. I mean, my direct supervisor, she's like a year or two younger than me. Really nice lady, loves horror movies. And so, me and her get along great. And a lot of times when we have my one-on-ones, we'll do our business, and then the rest of it, we're just sitting there just talking about similar things or things that have happened to us or interests or this or that. And she's just a really cool lady. And like an example, and I think I may have said this before, I had to go to some kind of training Zoom class or whatever.
Yeah, you said that earlier, right? For
No,
what is it?
this was before this.
Oh,
This was
okay.
a long time ago.
Right.
I had a hoodie on. That'll tell you how long ago it was. I had a hoodie and a stocking hat on.
Mhm.
And this girl that helped me get the job here, she referred me and got paid for it.
Right.
She is in the same position as my boss, just leads a different team. Everybody knows her and knows that she's absolutely insane. I've known her for 15 years. That's why we get along so well.
Right.
But she's like fun in a fun way.
Right.
Are we limited on what we can actually talk about on here other than our normal topics we don't talk about?
Not as far as I know. I mean, it's YouTube, Twitch, PeerTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about the purples. When I first met her, she told me that I need to find a Toys R Us bag and asphyxiate her with it and give her a Russian unicorn.
Okay. Wow.
I'm like, okay. I was like, and she was playing because she's dating my best friend at the time. Still
Right.
is one of my really good dear friends. I was like, okay, Laura, I'll bite. What's a Russian unicorn? She goes, oh, that's when you take a strap-on dildo and you put it on your forehead and you fuck me with it. Well, me knowing Laura and knowing she's trying to get a reaction out of me, I said, well, I got a Best Buy bag. She goes, nope, has to be a Toys R Us. She still says and does these things now.
That's hilarious.
I have not told anybody at work that because
That's hilarious.
That's not a work story. So she's also taken pictures of her dog pooping in the driveway because it's a new phenomenon that's going on at her house. Because her dog always poop in the grass, now it's in the driveway.
Okay.
And she shares it with the other managers. This is just how Laura is. She's weird and goofy like that. So, okay. So we go to this meeting, and I'm wearing one of my Star Wars hoodies. And she goes, "Hey Kramer, is that a Star Wars hoodie?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Let me see the logo." Meanwhile, the company big guy
Mm-hmm.
is on Zoom now and is just watching. He goes, "Oh, Mr. Kramer." He goes, "Did you know? Are you aware we do have a dress code where you're supposed to wear?" Yeah, not tonight. I have a headache. Um, that's awesome. I like you, Leanne. I like you already. I can tell we're going to be good friends. Um, that's got me giggling now. So our boss says,
Yeah.
you're supposed to wear collared shirts and look professional even though you're working from home. I'm like,
What? Who's seeing you? Why would you need to do that?
no, it is in our handbook. It is there.
Okay.
I'm like, oh shit. I was like, all right, let me change real quick. He goes, "I'm just messing with you, man. We just want you to be comfortable. You're fine." He goes, "Nice setup, Laura." Meanwhile, Laura is over there on her camera just laughing her ass off because she knew exactly what was going to happen. This is my friend Laura.
You
I
got
love
set
her.
up. You got set up. That's funny.
I love Laura. She's awesome.
Sounds fun. Well, hey, man, I'm going to have to call it quits. It's time for me to end it. So
Yeah,
we're done for the day. It's been good talking to you as always, Wolf. We got to get Leanne on here to talk with us one of these days, too. It'll be fun. She seems like a fun person. Oh, look at the doggy.
Say hi, Laura.
Look at the doggy.
She's like, "I'm out."
All right, man. Take care.
All right.
Everybody else, thanks for living.
Thanks as always, brother.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, Leanne, for being here. Thank you for everybody else who was watching and in wherever Twitch or YouTube or PeerTube. I'll be back maybe this weekend. I might be back tomorrow. I don't know for sure. Just pay attention and you'll see if I am. Anyway, take care of yourselves, everybody. Have a nice day. And remember, if at first you don't succeed, keep sucking until you do. Have a great day.